Welcome back to the Charlotte Regional Championships. My name is Adam Doricott. I'm joined by the ever-lovely Connor Finton.
So this round we're showing off an interesting matchup.
Are you excited for it? Okay, one of the decks is on these decks that people talk about all the time, like, you should play it, and then there's always one friend who's like, friends don't let friends play this deck.
Well, Jamie's friends did let him play Greninja, so that's what he's on. It looks like a pretty standard list, nothing too crazy. On the other side we have Josh Marking. And again, a pretty standard-looking Zoroark Lycanroc deck. Something we've seen a couple times on stream already today. Really a powerhouse in this format. But yeah, we'll have to see how things go.
Yeah, I mean, Zoroark Lycanroc into Greninja is kind of an interesting one. The numbers are a little bit funky. You really want to use the Lycanroc to deal huge amounts of damage. Then all of those choice bands you have in your deck are completely worthless, apart from the Lele.
They're great trades until you get Shadow Stitch, and then they're just dead cards.
Yeah.
The Lycanroc does fortunately hit 130 with a strong energy, so it can knock out those Greninjas before they break evolve. But after that, you're taking 2 shots on the Greninjas, and things get kind of iffy. So what Josh has to do here is get a fast start and really start, chopping down at those Frogadiers and Froakies until he can get to the late game, and then maybe get, a Lycanroc with a strong on it, take a Greninja, maybe a GX attack, a Greninja break, stuff like that. And then on Jamie's side, he just has to, survive those few turns until he can have these Greninja breaks going, and there is no Tina promo in Josh's deck, so he's gonna have free reign with those giant water shurikens.
Well, not a lot of people were really too worried about the
Greninja
Greninja and Greninja break, but if you don't have it and it gets a shadow stitching up, then you're in trouble for the rest of the game, really.
Greninja is one of those decks that people always talk about, but then they're like, no one's gonna play that deck, and then people always play that deck. So
yeah, there's really, limited cards you can tech in to beat the Greninja and Greninja break. So it'll be interesting to see how Josh navigates this. I think getting off to a flying start is what he needs.
For sure.
If he goes first, that's going to help. Definitely wants to get more value out of the Lycanroc, but at the same time, you only need 1 or 2 Greninja breaks in play to then just Giant Wall Shuriken a bunch, Shadow Stitching a bunch, and then you're in a really good position.
Yeah. If Jamie ever gets, multiple Greninja breaks out in the field, there's not much that Josh can do about it. Maybe he can take one of the GX attack, but the Giant Water Shuriken's too strong, and then the Zoroark deck depends so heavily on trade. And with Greninja's Shadow Stitching attack that just turns off those abilities, it's really difficult for Josh to keep going late game.
Yeah, the one thing I find actually quite interesting is there's no Stadium on Josh's list. So if Brooklyn Hill comes into play, he'll be able to look for some Rockruffs, take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But there's no way he can really stop that consistent flow of another Froakie is coming out, or I'm going to grab the Staryu to turn it into the Starmie. Mm-hmm. There's really no way to shut that down. If that gets into play, Josh has to maybe expend a Field Blower on it. Kind of not where you want the Field Blower. I'd say there's maybe better items to get rid of. And also, as soon as he loses trade, does end up with so many cards in hand that then become absolutely useless. Bridgets, choice bands. If you're stuck with those, yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting. One thing I do see in Jamie's list is there is a very heavy supporter line. We have a 4 Cynthia, 4 N, 2 Sycamores. That's great for this deck because the issue that Greninja's always had is that consistency problem. You get stuck turn 1, turn 2 with just a Froakie and a pass, and you just sit there and lose the game real fast.
You can bubble.
You can bubble. You can bubble.
That's definitely an option. I will say it's one of those decks that doesn't play Guzma, so it's kind of like you need always the right thing in the right place.
Yeah.
That's one of those problems I think some Greninja players have had when it's just it's on the bench and I can see it, but I can't knock it out with Shuriken, and it's just gonna sit there for another turn. And potentially if it's something like a Lycanroc, yeah, it can just come up and knock you out with a dangerous road.
Ooh, another interesting thing, Jamie's list plays 3 Enhanced Hammer. That could be very relevant in this matchup. As I was saying, Josh's deck, he needs to get that strong energy to be able to knock out a Greninja. That means he has strong and DCE on the Lycanroc GX. So he's got 2 special energies that can both be ditched very easily. But I think we're going to head over to the game now.
Yeah, game's ready to go. Both these players set up. Do you see the nice, simple starts? I believe it's going to be Josh on the left of your screen. Yep, confirmation there as we see the Rockruff over. And Jamie Depamphilis will be moving first. I believe it's Josh to move first. My apologies.
I think Jamie went, drew, and just passed immediately.
That is not a turn in my book. That is definitely not a turn.
And then Josh goes Rockruff pass.
Yeah, the big problem here is, it's great to get the Frogadier out and get a choice band on it. This hand is lacking the water energy. He's going to have a time to search that with the Cynthia. But both players literally just getting 2 basics down and passing with no energy for these opening gambits.
One thing we need to note is if you look at Josh's prize cards, There are 3 Zoruas in Josh's prize cards.
Oh, he hasn't even had a chance to look in those prize cards.
So
right
Josh
now.
does not even know that he has prized triple Zorua this game.
He's gonna be so mad when he finds out.
On top of missing that turn 1 and then your opponent getting a turn 2 water duplicates, this is not looking good for our friend Josh here.
Yeah, that Greninja's going to be coming into play pretty promptly. He actually got a Frogadier and a Frogadier, so he was able to evolve the Froakie he played at the beginning of the game. He now has 4 Frogadier in play.
Yeah, Josh draws another DCE, but there's really nothing he can do about this. Yeah, this is already at a point right now for Josh where just with this matchup and with this setup that Jamie has, there's not much that Josh can even do long term.
Yeah, I mean, he does bring up one of the Froakies up, which isn't really a problem, but it's just going to be the DC, attach, and pass. I'm going to say this hasn't been a banger so far. It's been a tedious one. There's the first enhanced hammer, so that DC, no more. Josh with the deadest hand I've seen in a while.
And he still doesn't know he prized 3 Zoruas.
Well, that's unfortunate, because he does have 2 Zoroark in his hand. The big thing here right now is one of them is going to be useless until he can get to the prizes. So,
assuming he gets there.
well, that's a separate story for another day. But we do see the Greninja break in hand for Jamie there. He's going to get the Evo Soda out, so yeah, it's looking pretty peachy for him right now.
Yeah, if he can just start attacking, putting damage on, and just put Josh in an even tighter position. He does whiff the energy or the Greninja to end Josh top 6 a third. Zoroark GX.
So that hand would be absolutely foul of how good it would be if you had Bridgeted in turn 1. I mean, if he'd be lacking that, there's another double colorless.
Yeah, he's got 1 Zoroark for each Zorua in his prize cards.
And another enhanced hammer. Jamie running hotter than the sun right now, as the Greninja break actually promoted into the active hit. I think the only thing that's gone wrong for Jamie is he's now not got bench space to play the Staryu Starmie combination. He does Josh a huge favor here by giving him a bit of an out with the M.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that play, because even if you're sitting here just, attacking for 110 every turn, Josh isn't doing anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing here. It still doesn't change the killer fact for Josh that he is holding on to a ton of Zoroark in the deck that he will likely be unable to play.
And a giant water shuriken on the Rockruff is just, yeah.
I mean, realistically, all he needs to do now is assume. I mean, yeah, Josh is going to get another Pokemon down. He has Tapu Lele in the hand right there. But now there's 2 Greninjas ready to go. He's going to be able to get some giant water shurikens out in the next couple of turns. And then, the big problem, I guess, here is like, hey, as soon as that's got damage on it, we've already seen the Espeon EX go down. So that at any point, you can just switch that out, put an energy on it, and yeah, that Rockruff is gone.
And then, of course, the Shadow Stitching now. We see that Lele in Josh's hand, but that Lele isn't going to do anything now.
Yeah, completely useless at this current juncture. As is that Zoroark without Zorua on the bench. He's already got an N in hand, so I'm not sure if he's contemplating it. That's a Guzman, my apologies. Oh, there's an N behind it. There it is.
He could have benched the Lele to just not die, but at this point, what does it matter?
Yeah, he needs another Pokemon. Like, the Shadow Stitching lock isn't going away at any point, really. He's now got 2 Greninja on the bench. He's got a Greninja break in the active. He's going to be Shadow Stitch for the rest of the game.
It's also important to note that he has not searched his deck yet, so he still has no idea.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's going to be afforded a search anytime soon. It looks like he's grabbed the Puzzle of Time, 2 of those. Does have a fighting energy, which won't get removed by the enhanced hammer. But apart from that, I mean, it's looking pretty bleak in there for Josh.
I figure he has to grab the Rockruff to survive another turn.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely has to. Otherwise, he's just going to get devolved. And that's the only way he's got a Pokemon in this turn. He can maybe grab the double colorless, and it appears.
Oh, there he goes. He gets to see. I'm glad that he looked. Because I feel like he just needed to know that the game was already in such a state.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully we get a bit more of a banger in round number 2, or game number 2, my apologies. Purely Josh there, realizing he was just going to spend so many resources just sticking around. And as well, the play was that even if he grabbed the Rockruff with the double puzzle, it just gets giant water shurikens.
And then a devolve.
Yeah. So there was no way out for him. He grabbed, double puzzle Guzma? Just wasn't there for Josh in that turn. So Josh will be afforded the opportunity to go first, but Yeah, he's got to hope for a little more than that in game 2.
If you're Josh, you're definitely hoping that Greninja does the classic Greninja play and does nothing.
You mean the Greninja hand?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not so nimble there. I do see them just shuffling up, getting ready for game number 2. It'll be interesting to see if Josh prizes anything else in this game, because I don't think it can get worse than that game 1.
We did see earlier, it's not worse, we did see earlier a triple Bridget prized, but it was kind of irrelevant for that game, fortunately, for Alex Hill was the player that prized three Bridget.
That card's overrated anyway.
Yeah.
It's really not. It's not what you want it. Josh definitely needs a little bit more out of that opening turn. I mean, to be fair, Jamie had a pretty boring opening turn. Literally just drew pass. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is Josh wasn't able to capitalize on it.
Sometimes those draw pass hands with Greninja are actually the best turn 1 hands, though. If you just have, Froakie, and then Energy and a Frogadier, you're set. That's all you really want.
All right, I see 2 Zorua at least.
And a Lele.
Ooh, this is better.
What do you get? What's he got?
Maybe we will be able to actually play a game. We do actually see Jamie's prizes first. Cynthia N, the big Starmie there, along with 1 Froakie and 1 Greninja. So he is going to be a little lighter on some of these kind of lines. And I think if he searches, he's going to be able to play the game accordingly. The interesting thing here from Jamie is he has started with this Espeon EX. And I know that a lot of people, when they play it, hate to see it in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. That's not what he wants to start. He wants to start either the Staryu that has free retreat or one of his Froakies.
I mean, if he starts the Staryu, it's literally going to be sat on the bench till he draws prizes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
If he starts with the Staryu, it's going to be retreating onto the bench until he draws prizes. Yeah. It will never become a Starmie, the 1/1 line.
Not in this game, it will not.
Until he gets there. I mean, it depends how he takes his prizes. I would personally take my prizes the middle 2, the top 2, the bottom 2. Assuming I knock out EXs and GXs, but we can hope.
Interestingly, Jamie attaches the Choice Band to his Espeon EX. I guess it's probably just to thin the deck because he knows he's like, okay, I want to draw into a Froakie this turn. Because if I don't draw into a Froakie this turn, my setup gets way worse, and my whole game plan just like everything is a turn later, and against any matchup for Greninja, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's not what you want at all, especially when you're looking at Josh's bench. That's pretty much full up right now. He's also just pulled a Zoroark, ready for one of the Zoruas. He does put the Staryu down, so he hasn't been through his deck yet. Might have wanted to hold off until after that Brooklet Hill.
I think that getting the Staryu out is fine. The Staryu's still a free retreater. There's no bench damage spread in Josh Marking's deck. So it's going to be okay until you draw into the Starmie. And then the turn you draw your Starmie, you can play it down. Yeah. Even though, of course, he hadn't checked his prize cards yet, so he didn't know that he had prized it. But
yeah, I mean, he's still stuck with pretty lightweight bench, to be honest. We do see the Espeon EX stuck in the active. That's not going anywhere for a while. It is a single energy retreater, but at the same time, you need an energy somewhere on the Froakie. So if it becomes a Frogadier, you can immediately start water duplicates in.
For sure.
Is that a plural of water duplicates? Water duplicates in? Is that how you verb it?
It's a good question. We do see a strong play from Josh here. He goes and grabs the Lycanroc, brings up the Froakie. If he can hit a double colorless energy off of these 6 cards, he can knock out that Froakie and set Jamie even further behind.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to hope that Cynthia has it in there. He does have access to the trade as well. So if he falls behind a little bit, it's possible.
So he doesn't see it off those. He has 2 more cards after this trade.
One of them the single puzzle though, so he could drop the single puzzle. Oh, trading with a Sycamore, and still short, but he does get an Ultra Ball, so he could maybe make a big play and go for another trade.
Yeah, he can still dig, and I think that's probably the right play here. You just really want to kill this Froakie. If you get it out of the way, there's no Frogadier next turn. He has to wait at least 1 more turn to drop another Froakie. And then you can still, if he only gets 1 out per turn, you can still go ahead and keep picking off those Froakies with Guzmas. Josh does only play 2 Guzmas, but he does play the 4 Puzzle of Time, so he can go and grab those back out of the discard pile. He does not hit it again.
Still short there on that double colorless energy. We'll just actually attach to his Lycanroc and pass.
And he actually helped Jamie out quite a bit here, because Jamie didn't have an energy attached to that Espeon at all, so he was going to miss that turn to water duplicates. He doesn't play any sort of switching cards. Everything in his deck, the only way that it's getting out of the active is a retreat or by getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what he's left with, but still no energy in this one, and no Frogadier either for Jamie. Oh, there it is.
There's the DCE. He'll go and get another Zoroark. Now, Jamie does have a Frogadier in hand, but he does not have that water energy that he needs to use the water duplicates attack.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point putting the Frogadier down if you're just going to lose it.
Yeah, he knows he wants to save that Frogadier for a Froakie when he knows that he can use it to its fullest and to go and grab 3 more Frogadiers out of his bench. Out of his deck to put on his bench.
He's not prized any of the Frogadier, so he will be able to, if he can successfully get a water duplicates off, even if he loses one of these Froakies, then he'll have the space on the bench to fill it with Frogadier. That's the big thing for him right here. He is going to at least lose this Froakie, but he just needs to make sure he hits that water energy in the next turn. So that's kind of the only way for him to stay alive in it. The fact of the matter is, if he can get the water energy, he's still got a lot of work to do to win this game. He still needs to then find a bunch of giant water shurikens,
yes.
Keep Espeon around until all of those giant water shurikens have been put into play, and then hit the miraculous shot.
Yes, absolutely. There's other cool plays he could do with Shadow Stitching and hope that the Josh energy droughts or late game ends and Shadow Stitching are also super strong. So he has options. He's not totally out of the game yet. Greninja, if any deck can come back from a huge deficit, it is Greninja.
Yeah, the Shadow Stitching is absolutely brutal in this one. He's just going to knock out the Froakie here. Staryu put in the active there using its free retreat. There's the enhanced timer, but if you look at Josh's hand, actually, it was full of double colorless energies after those turns.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2 more, at least 1 puzzle too. We're probably going to see Jamie either just sack this Staryu or maybe even a Froakie if he still wants to dream of getting that Starmie out anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to hope as well that he misses the double colorless. He has no idea that Josh has that in hand ready to go, but he does need to make sure he hits a water duplicates in this one. Otherwise, I feel like all hope is, I don't want to say lost, but he's just too far behind at that point.
Yeah. And he decides, my Froakies are too valuable at this point. He's already had 1 knocked out. He prized 1, so those are the last 2 Froakies in the deck. He can't let them get knocked out. So what he's doing here is he's giving himself an extra turn where he can still water duplicates.
Yeah, I mean, he has to water duplicates at some point. That is purely his only option. Looks like he's going to be limited on those, though, with one of the Froakies pretty much looking at that Guzma that he just grabbed with the Tapu Lele.
Yeah, so Josh is going to Guzma up one of the Froakies and just swing at it, do 120 damage, knock it out. If he can hit 1 more Guzma next turn, then
that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah, he's just going to start trading. He's got it. Assuming there's no hand disruption from Jamie in this following turn, he actually has double puzzle in hand ready to go. So Josh just holding onto this big hand. Also, just to rub it in, making sure that field blower comes down into play.
Yeah, he really had to get rid of that super dangerous choice spin on the Espeon.
Right.
Couldn't let it stay there.
That was a real problem. Josh filling his hand right up with this. Does look like he's going to grab a Sycamore. Not going to be any disruption this turn.
But that is a great top deck for Jamie.
It at least gets him back into the game. Does Super Rod before any supporters go into play, so making sure his brave little Froakies are back in there.
Yeah. So I definitely think that, that was obviously ideal for Jamie. His turn, he was done next turn, pretty much. If he didn't top deck there, I don't want to say he's completely out of the game, but he's in a very rough spot with no Greninjas for the rest of the game. He almost attaches the choice spin to the Staryu, but realizes that's a mistake.
Well, he needs to attach it somewhere. We are going to see the Sycamore grab a Froakie off there, and the Splash Energy, that's going to help.
So now we're going to see 2 Frogadiers hit the bench. I'm a little curious as to, he might have another Frogadier in hand. That could be why he benched the Froakie.
Yep.
I'd have to assume that's what it is, otherwise there's no good reason. You had the splash on the active.
The splash will bring the Frogadier back, and he'll just be able to put it right back on there. I mean, as long as he's got a Frogadier he can promote, potentially turn into a Greninja. The thing is, we've already seen one of the enhanced hammers played, and he kind of needs more than the one. Like, if we saw him in game 1, he just streamed them. Doesn't matter. Look at the size of Josh's hand. He has everything he needs.
Yeah. Josh also plays his own copy of Enhanced Hammer, which could be really big in this moment to get rid of that splash energy.
Yeah, he's going to keep drawing. He's just going to keep on going with the trades.
Yeah, he's got a massive hand right there. That's just kind of what the Zora deck does, is it gets big hands and just try to see what you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting right through this deck. He actually has, I believe, all 4 puzzles.
He does. He has all 4 puzzles in hand.
Yeah, he's literally filled up his hands. If those enhanced hammers are eluding him, We do see one of them is in Josh's prizes, so he's just digging for that remaining one.
Okay, yeah, that is the only enhanced hammer in in Josh's deck. So it's probably what he's digging for, but he's not going to hit it.
Yeah, he must know, maybe by now. He could use Brook the Hill. He's going to just limit that damage with another choice band heading in there. But that single enhanced hammer, when it's prized, yeah, you're not getting around that.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It's, it's potentially you can just get it out the prizes, but at the same time, the hand's getting a little bit tough here for Jamie. He's now down 3 prizes and still lacking a Greninja.
And he has that Espeon sitting on the bench waiting to be Dangerous Rogue GX'd.
Right.
At some point this game.
Yeah, he just needs to kind of keep the knockouts coming on the Frogadiers, or the Frogadiers or the Froakies, whatever he chooses. Even the Greninja would be a potential.
Jamie does hit the Lele for N though, and he is going to go Lele and Shadow Stitch this turn, so he is going to have about as good of a turn as you can have, really. He'd like to hit one more Greninja this turn, and it looks like he doesn't evolve his Frogadier, his Froakie into the Frogadier that was in his hand.
Yeah, maybe try to save it for a little bit later when he's got more bench space. Try and catch it with like a water duplicates or something.
There's a couple options there. I mean, he still does have this Frogadier Greninja in hand, so if it does get knocked out with the Splash Energy, it will come back and he can evolve it.
Oh.
But he draws back into it and plays it down immediately. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you want it. You go for the end, you get to draw 6. There's Staryu using its free retreat. That is literally its sole job in this game.
Yeah.
Just make sure you keep doing that damage. Shadow Stitching, no choice ban, only doing 40 this time.
Now we see there's at least 2 DCEs in Josh's hand. If he had double puzzle like he had before, he could have. What do we see? Do we have a strong energy, or is he going to go for a dangerous rogue?
I mean, he has options here. He just doesn't want to leave that in there, and he actually, with that small hand, cannot trade. That's the biggest thing for him right now. Is he's literally limited to what he has in hand. I'm going to get the Greninja down again. Actually, the one being evolved here, the Greninja Break coming into play on this one.
Jamie's just kind of playing everything out of his hand, and I think he might have just realized that the Starmie's prized. Yeah, he fails it.
Yeah, I mean, he's had Brook the Hill to go in and look.
Oh, and he just scoops up the game. Realizes, I can't win without my Starmie in this game, and his start was bad. And actually, we were talking to Mr. Cannabis before the game. We were talking over the list, and he said, I just don't see what the obsession with SP on the X is. And yeah, it's great when you can hit those 60s all over the place on Zaruas and Rockruffs, and there's a couple of other basics. But when you miss that, and then you're able to, you're not able to use Miraculous Shine for 3-4 prizes, it's probably not worth it. The biggest problem is, hey, when it starts in the active, you're in trouble. Yeah. You need to hit that water energy turn 1, and I mean, you're playing 6 of them, but trying to draw into that turn 1 isn't always the easiest thing. SP on the X is a great card and it opens up win conditions for you, but it also can hinder your consistency a little bit. And in Greninja, that's a deck that already has consistency issues. That's not always the best.
Yeah, a lot of people. Not a big fan, actually, of the Greninja. A lot of people leaving it at home for this tournament this weekend. But Jamie Depamphilis, he's 4-0 with it. So you must know when it runs hot, like game 1, it runs hot. When it runs cold, yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, the Greninja is just a deck that, if you run well with it, you're going to win games. And but if you run cold with it, you're gonna lose a lot of games real fast.
It is probably one of the kind of decks that relies most on that knife edge. Yes, it has a nice comeback mechanic, but you still need to make it into that kind of point of the game, and Jamie got nowhere near it in that game, really.
Yeah, Greninja's a deck where every matchup loses a 10%, 20% matchup bonus on how well you start, and just because of its consistency, it just has some trouble sometimes.
There was a perfect example of it just not getting off the ground.
A lot of times when we test, we talk about the Greninja matchup, and we're like, well, if Greninja sets up, this is like an 80-20 matchup for us, but Greninja doesn't set up every game, so we'll just have to see if Jamie's able to get that rocket start that he needs, or we'll see what Josh does, and it looks like he started the Espeon again.
Ooh, yeah, that looked like a big old Espeon. We're going to see Jamie's prizes. It's pretty balanced. I mean, there's a Froakie in there and an Evo Soda, one of his enhanced hammers. Nothing too drastic. Josh has come down. I'd say arguably a little bit worse for him, as we do confirm that SP on the X. the Zoroark, Zorua, Lycanroc, 2 of his draw spores, and a Floatstone as well.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's definitely workable, but it's not great for sure.
Yeah, well, Jamie knows exactly what he needs to do in this one, making sure he is going first. He's going to Brooklet Hill to grab at least a Froakie, and can start working on it for the Water Dudes.
Josh does have Raw Bridget in hand. No need for a Lele or an Ultra Ball. He's just got the Bridget there. He can probably go. He can actually. What's really cool here, he can go Bridget. He's got a Fighting Energy in hand, and he can corner this Espeon active.
I've seen this before. I don't know if any of you recall. It was actually in Costa Mesa, where Sam Chen
sat there and infinitely cornered
the Espeon. It was actually foul. It was very unpleasant to work with.
So that's something, that exact play can happen right now.
I'd respect him, to be honest, if it happened. I'd probably respect him. Because as well, I mean, genuinely, looking at it as a win condition right now, if he corners him, the fact of the matter is, because of the amount they're drawing through the deck, yeah, they have the shuffle draw or hand refresh, as I know we like to call them. Those supporters where you take your hand, you put it back in the deck and draw up to a set number of cards. It's going to be basically a problem. It's actually Espeon GX on the screen. Oh, there's the handshake. Jamie actually knows exactly what's about to happen. He's not going to make us watch it.
What?
The game has literally been won by corner. So for those of you watching at home, let me break this down for you real quick. Josh starts with corner Rockruff. Espeon EX starts in the active, and it gets cornered. So it gets cornered and cornered and cornered. It can never retreat. Jamie basically admits that. I don't play Guzma, so he'll never be able to get that out of the active.
It's a little interesting that he just scooped there, because like you assume that game would go long enough where they might even tie.
So the problem you have is that both the first game, so we have 27 minutes left on the clock right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of time left.
So basically, even if you're maximizing your turns, it's nigh on impossible to justify draw, maybe shuffle in your hand, and to run that clock, because both game 1 and game 2 were so quick.
Yeah.
So he literally won the game off corner, because there's no way, if you look at the counts, we go down the supporters, there's 3 Cynthia and
4 N.
4, that's on Jamie's side, correct?
Yes.
And then over on Josh's side, we have 3 Cynthia and how many N? 2 N.
2 N.
So there's 5 to 8 when it comes to those shuffle draw supporters. But when you play out the length of the game, Josh actually has access to more because of the puzzles.
Yeah, because of the puzzles.
That's why that game was just called off early by Jamie.
Yeah, and Josh can go back every single time and grab the Cynthia instead of the N. So he's not shuffling Jamie's deck either. So really he has access to 7 Cynthias as opposed to Jamie's 4. Yeah. So that's why in the long game, Josh is guaranteed to win that game if he just sits there and corners the entire time.
Yeah, he literally corners, and then they just have to play smart about where they use their refresh supporters. Now the big thing there is, well, that's fine, but at the same time, like, you know, Jamie knows that as long as his opponent plays properly and Josh doesn't make those mistakes, great. He's just going to win.
And it shows a little bit of respect to Josh, knowing, okay, I know that you know what's up. I know that you're a good player and you're going to understand that you just need to sit here and corner me the entire rest of the game, and there's nothing I can do about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing there is, kids, if you put an Espeon EX in your deck, try not to start with it.
Yeah, don't start Espeon EX.
Try this at home, because you will be cornered and you will be playing hand refresh supporters for the rest of the game.
And you have lots of fun. Lots of fun interactive card games.
Yeah,
and you sit there in corner.
I mean, in game 1, we got to see some Zoroark trading card game. Oh no, game 2 we saw some Zoroark trading card game. Game 1 we saw some Shadow Stitching, which is also a joy for everyone at home. And game 3 we saw corner Rockruff.
Yeah. It's probably the fastest game you're ever going to see where no one does any damage.
Yeah, I mean, the game was literally won on turn 2. He couldn't get Espeon out, and I mean, if he got it out turn 1, great. Like, but he just didn't have the resources or ability to do so. So, round number 5, actually for us, complete pretty quickly.
Yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll come back for round 6 in a little bit. We'll see you later.